Did you know that cinema's most intense, taboo, and psychologically complex family dynamics often bypass parents entirely to focus on aunts and nephews? It is a unique cinematic bond that screenwriters use to explore hidden trauma, forbidden obsession, and unexpected manipulation. Today we are diving deep into the dark, the heartwarming, and the outright shocking. These are the top 13 times world cinema pushed the absolute limits of the aunt-nephew relationship. Let us count down these unforgettable deep dives. Number 1. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, 2012. We start with a film that looks like a standard high school coming-of-age drama on the surface, but hides a devastating emotional core. The Perks of Being a Wallflower masterfully uses the bond between the main character, Charlie, and his late Aunt Helen to anchor the story's psychological mystery. Throughout his childhood, Aunt Helen was Charlie's favorite person, his emotional safe haven. But as Charlie confronts his severe mental health struggles, his deeply repressed memories begin to resurface. The film shifts from a story about teenage friendship into a haunting exploration of generational trauma, showing how a relationship we remember as loving can actually be the source of our deepest psychological wounds. Number 2. Malizia, Malice, 1973. Heading over to Italy, Malicia is a masterclass in tension, grief, and unrequited obsession within a household. Following the death of his mother, a teenage boy named Nino becomes utterly transfixed by his household's new housekeeper, Angela, who soon becomes engaged to his father, positioning her as his future step-aunt. Instead of a traditional family bond, the film dives headfirst into the chaotic, hormonal obsession of a young man blurring every boundary of familial respect. It is a cynical, darkly satirical look at how grief and sudden proximity can distort a young mind's perspective on family roles. Number 3. Let Them All Talk, 2020. Directed by Steven Soderbergh, this slick, mostly improvised comedy drama places professional codependency under a magnifying glass. Meryl Streep plays Alice, an eccentric high-society author who invites her impressionable nephew Tyler on a luxurious cruise across the Atlantic to act as her personal assistant. Tyler fiercely idolizes his aunt, but as the voyage progresses, he realizes he is being used as an emotional shield and a social buffer against her old college friends. It's a brilliant, sharp look at how a powerful, artistic maternal figure can smoothly manipulate a younger relative's unconditional loyalty. Number 4. Vincent, 2016. In this Franco-Belgian gem, we explore a rescue mission born out of pure non-conformity. Vincent is an intense, environmentally conscious 17-year-old whose extreme existential anxieties and drastic protest stunts drive his immediate parents to their absolute wits' end. Enter his aunt, Nikki. Recognizing that traditional parental restrictions are only making his mental health worse, Nikki steps across family boundaries, packing Vincent into her car for an impulsive road trip to France. The film brilliantly captures how an unconventional aunt can offer the radical empathy and judgment-free space a teenager desperately needs when their own parents cannot understand them. Number 5. Spider-Man, 2002. Not every deep dive has to be dark. Some provide the emotional bedrock of pop culture history. The bond between Peter Parker and Aunt May across Sam Raimi's trilogy represents the gold standard of maternal surrogate relationships in cinema. Following the devastating loss of Uncle Ben, their relationship transitions from simple dependency into a profound partnership of shared grief, financial survival, and unspoken protection. May's unconditional love and moral clarity are the literal catalysts that keep Peter grounded as a hero, proving that an aunt's guidance can completely replace a mother's impact. Number 6. David Copperfield, 1935. Based on the timeless Charles Dickens masterpiece, this classic film shows what happens when an aunt becomes a literal savior. Fleeing from the horrific abuse of his cruel stepfather, young David walks for miles to seek refuge with his eccentric, fiercely independent aunt, Betsy Trotwood. Though Betsy presents a harsh, no-nonsense exterior to the world, her immediate protection of David changes his life trajectory forever. The film dives into the beautiful shift of an older woman rearranging her isolated, structured life to provide an unbreakable shield for a boy who has nowhere else to go. Number 7. Teddy Danielle, 1990. If you think all aunts are sweet, this dark French comedy will completely shatter that illusion. Teddy Danielle introduces us to the ultimate relative from hell, a spiteful, aggressively cruel elderly woman who moves into the Parisian apartment of her genuinely well-meaning nephew, Jean-Pierre. Danielle takes absolute, unadulterated pleasure in manipulating, gaslighting, and tormenting her family, while acting like a helpless victim to outsiders. It is a hilarious yet biting deep dive into how far a nephew's filial duty, patience, and love can be stretched before the relationship completely implodes. Number 8. My Mother's Smile, 2002. This Italian psychological drama presents an intense look at ideological warfare hidden inside family structures. When a prominent, wealthy family moves to have their deceased matriarch canonized as a Catholic saint, her atheist artist son, Ernesto, rebels against the idea. This triggers an intense, manipulative campaign led by his highly traditional, deeply religious aunts, who are desperate to secure the family's legacy at all costs. The film beautifully highlights the suffocating pressure a nephew faces when trying to forge his own modern identity against the fierce, institutional expectations of older family matriarchs. Number 9. Sweetie, 1989. Directed by the legendary Jane Campion, this avant-garde Australian film explores the collateral damage of severe, untreated mental illness within a household. The narrative centers on a quiet woman named Dawn, whose life is completely upended when her chaotic, deeply unstable sister, nicknamed Sweetie, unexpectedly returns. Sweetie brings an absolute whirlwind of erratic, destructive behavior into the home, dragging her young nephew into the crossfire of her manic episodes. The movie provides a visceral, uncomfortable look at how an aunt's unhinged presence can permanently alter a child's sense of domestic safety. Number 10. The Deep End, 2001. The Deep End is a high-stakes neo-noir thriller that perfectly captures the lengths a matriarch will go to protect a young man's future. While Tilda Swinton plays a mother covering up a potential murder to shield her son, the film masterfully mirrors the absolute pressure cooker dynamic of extended family protection. When dark secrets and predatory outside forces threaten to destroy a young man's life, the protective boundaries of the household transform into a desperate criminal cover-up, exposing the terrifying lengths a maternal figure will go to preserve her family's safety. Number 11. Venezia, 2010. Set on the absolute brink of World War II, this visually stunning Polish drama focuses on a young boy named Marek. Dreaming of visiting the historic canals of Venice, his plans are shattered when the German invasion forces his family to send him away to his aunt's secluded estate in the countryside. To protect Marek from the terrifying horrors of the escalating war, his aunts band together to construct an elaborate, imaginative, and artistic psychological bubble inside their basement, recreating Venice itself. It is a profoundly moving look at wartime shelter and the quiet heroism of aunts preserving a nephew's innocence. Number 12. Harvey, 1950. In this beloved cinematic classic, the dynamic is seen through a fascinating, inverted lens. The main story tracks the lovable, eccentric Elwood P. Dowd and his best friend, an invisible 6-foot-tall rabbit named Harvey. However, the true driving force of the plot is Elwood's frantic sister, Veda, and her young adult son, the nephew. The young man finds himself completely caught in the crossfire of his mother's desperate attempts to maintain their high society social status while living with a completely unhinged uncle. It's a wonderful, comedic look at how a nephew navigates the domestic anxieties and control of his maternal guardians. Number 13. Eye of the Cat, 1969. We finish our list with a cult classic, boundary-pushing psychological horror thriller written by the screenwriter of Psycho. The story revolves around Aunt Danny, a wealthy, eccentric San Francisco matriarch who suffers from severe emphysema and shares her massive mansion with dozens of stray cats. Her wayward nephew Wiley returns home alongside a calculating girlfriend with a diabolical plot: get back into his aunt's will, shut off her oxygen tank, and inherit the immense fortune. What follows is a pitch-black, suspenseful cat-and-mouse game filled with greed, manipulation, and psychological warfare, showing the absolute darkest mutation of the aunt-nephew dynamic. Which of these unconventional family dynamics shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you love deep dives into cinema history and hidden movie gems, make sure to like this video, share it with your fellow film buffs, and subscribe for more. See you next time.